Hey everybody, welcome to our weekly Ecosystem Office Hours call. I am your host Jinx, and we are joined as always by the best and brightest in the Pocket ecosystem. Going to let Fred kick it off here this morning with our protocol updates.
Thanks, Jinx. Should be quick. Last week was a short week with the holiday in the U.S. Priorities are more or less the same. There have been a number of announcements about Shannon on social channels, so make sure you're staying up to date on those. From a feature standpoint, we're continuing to work on gas fees, filtered application queries, client-side caching, and historical parameters. There's also a new upgrade coming out for Alpha Testnet and a new update for Cosmos Visor just released. So we're working on getting that integrated right now. On the path front, we are still very focused on the database integration and some of those Web 2 style features, or really just making it a robust application features. So we are very close, though, to pushing out the what we're calling PADS, which is the path database. So that should be out shortly, hopefully this week. And internally, we're also working on integrating Path with the existing portal system and getting ourselves in a position where we can start to mirror traffic from the portal over to Path and ensure that it meets the scalability expectations of the portal, and then we will eventually cut over to using Path full time. Lastly, on our front, I think that's pretty much it. We've been doing a little bit of maintenance on the portal, just very minor things to keep it up to snuff and making sure that it looks good going into the holidays. And I'll circle back after we get through all the other updates and talk about the success rates on F-Chains. That's it.
Beautiful. Thank you, sir. And looking forward to seeing that path mirroring happening. It'll be nice to have some of the largest gateways dog fooding the same system that's up for everyone else, and making sure that everyone has access to the same updates and improvements along the way. Art, any additional Grove updates to share?
Not at this time. Come back to me. I don't have anything prepared right now.
You got it. And anyone else have gateway level updates that they'd like to share here? I don't see some of the folks, but I do see like Ramiro and whatever. Haven't heard any updates from Porters or DevDAO for a minute. I do see Sasquatch in here.
Yeah, just coming back online after some time with DEF CON in the holidays, taking me away. But nothing too crazy to report. But yeah, glad to be touching base again finally.
All right, cool. Good to see you back. Well, in that case, I'm going to hand it over to Michael and company for PNF updates.
Great. Thanks, Jinx. We don't have too much for everyone today, but first I wanted to pass it off to Saeed for some updates on PGAP. If you're around. Thanks.
Yep. Hey everyone, so the applications are coming in, and particularly there's been a lot of applicants from the actual community who heard about it from the community call. So keep on applying. And I saw some of you mention if you can do this solo, you're welcome to. If you can buddy up with a team member, you're welcome to post in the Discord as well and find someone else. But deadline's December 27th, so just a couple weeks away.
Great, thank you. I wanted to. We don't have too many updates from last week. I'm also just getting back to the States finally after basically 3 months being gone for 3 months. What I wanted to do was mostly talk about some of the market activities that we've been doing. We sent over 10 million POKT to the exchanges on Monday, and we had a call with our market maker today to get some data in advance of this call, and I just wanted to share some of it with you guys, so you guys just more deeply understand what the purpose of this is, and honestly seeing what the benefits are and these sorts of things, and just to answer any questions that you guys might have as well. So I'm gonna share my screen. Let me see here, 1 second. Okay, cool. Let me know if everyone is seeing my screen.
Yep.
Cool. So these charts are directly from
We're seeing your
our.
Discord screen. We're not seeing the charts.
Oh no. Okay. Let me see here. Let me see. 1 second.
When you stream, if you have multiple screens on Discord, they change this so there's a button on the top right on a Mac if you want to share the whole screen, not just the app.
Sorry, say that one more time.
If you are sharing on a Mac, at least I've seen this in the last couple weeks. If you want to share your entire screen, when you click the share button and you select the video quality, on the top right of the screen you want to share, there's going to be a separate button that says share full screen versus share this window, something to that verbiage.
Let me see here. Share what you're streaming. It says community calls, streaming channel, screens, entire screen. There we go. Okay. How about now? You guys seeing the charts?
Yes.
Awesome. So these charts are directly from our market maker. And I think it's really interesting to see the differences between last week and just the beginning of this week because we haven't been doing any market activity over the last couple weeks until starting Monday. The first chart here is our price chart, right? This is all, by the way, all on Gate, which I believe has been the most liquid exchange recently for us. So here you'll see the volume charts. You'll see just there's a very direct correlation on just pure volume from 12/2, right around the end of the day, 12/2, having sent this on Monday, and then moving forward as well. So everyone understands what we've been doing here. We've effectively, and you can kind of see the impact here in terms of the order book average. We are effectively selling very small amounts as close to the price as possible, as close to the median price as possible. And the key thing here is that, or the key outcome that we're really looking to get out of this is to have somewhat of a consistent pattern, whether that be on the price up or price down, particularly with liquidity and volumes. Because the thing is that mostly we have bots trading on these exchanges, and they're just basically recognizing patterns. And the more consistency that we have within just the token itself, the volume, the liquidity, the price movements, these sorts of things, the more likely it is we are to attract different types of bots and these sorts of things. Because it's obviously not just our market maker that's participating in these exchanges. There's, I have no idea. It's probably hundreds, if not thousands, of people that are actively, that actively have bots that are almost like set it and forget it, as long as they meet a certain kind of criteria. So you can see here, it's less evident or less obvious here, but you can see with just the daily order book averages clearly just increasing from before Monday and then increasing starting Monday relative to what the order book averages are. That's point number one. And this is, I think the more interesting chart here is the 1% depth on Gate. So you can see a really clear difference here. Like I mentioned before, we are doing this in very small amounts, very close to the price. And the algorithm that we have adjusts based on volume and these sorts of things. We don't sell when the price is going down, or we sell very little, particularly when volumes are low. And that's an important note here. If we think about kind of the general deal with OTC types of transactions, these are folks that are looking to, get a 10 to 20% discount and they end up arbitraging, if you don't have a lockup. it's just a pure arbitrage. And I'd rather us be able to participate in the market responsibly and in a way that actually, I believe, helps us, at least from our data so far. Because by increasing volumes, volume begets more volume. It reduces the price impact on selling in the first place, but also importantly attracts different types of bots and different types of participants in the market. I believe that we are in such a low tier when it comes to volumes and liquidity of the token that any volume for us actually broadens the amount of participants that can come into the market. Granted, most of these people are buying and selling and trading, but nonetheless, having more folks buying and selling actively increases volumes, which I believe over, at least at these levels, does have a positive impact on the price. In addition, we've kind of seen just a smoothing out of the chart itself. I mean, we've seen a couple pretty large candles, but I think one of the key things here is that we really want to smooth things out. So we have it patterns that people can effectively trade against. Now, I'm just focusing on bots here. There's the other side of this, which is just people just flat out buying on the market, either moving them off the exchanges, long-term holders, because they see the vision or what POKT's doing or Shannon launching and these sorts of things. That's really effectively a marketing activity for us, right? So as we keep building, as we have more gateways come online, as we have more gateway sent traffic, as we start to see traffic coming across different types of services, and as we start to market that, that's really the awareness and let's call it, more people coming in because they see the vision of POKT, right? And the nice thing about this is that that all adds to the baseline liquidity and volume of the network, and is just overall positive regardless, right? So, so this is kind of an overview here. These are the main, you see the 2% depth. It's less of an impact because our focus is small amounts really close to the price today. So our plan moving forward is to keep this fairly consistent. And keep in mind, this is capitalizing the foundation. We are actively keeping much of this either on exchanges or in safe wallets. The key thing here is, while we're selling right now, there's also the ability for us to buy, right? And that's, for example, when volumes are really low and price is low, for example, relative to what the past indicates. This puts us also in a position to smooth out the chart and increase volumes and reduce impact on the downside as well. Because as we all know, these markets are incredibly reflexive, and we want to be able to be a participant on the other side as well. So I just wanted to share some of this. I think the last couple of days it's a really nice example of kind of the stark contrast. We've been pretty off and on about it the last couple of months, but I would expect a little bit more consistency moving forward. And even if you look at, for example, the 12-hour charts, things are looking a bit more positive on that side of things as well. So I'll pause there. I just wanted to give a quick overview. I mean, this data is direct from our market maker on gate.io. And yeah, just wanted to kind of show what the impact actually can look like. I generally think that, as you have volumes go up, it broadens the amount of capital that can participate in the market that are both buying and selling it. And given the relative low liquidity, a little bit of buying makes a big impact, even if you're just trading the market movements, in the macro sense as well. So I'll stop there. I don't know if there are any questions or anything like that. Happy to share this in the den or anywhere else. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of give an overview there of what, just wanted to give a view there in terms of like what the actual impact is and how we're kind of viewing things moving forward. I see, was someone about to say something?
No, I was just going to say beautiful and thanks, and we'll open up the floor to questions.
Yeah, I see one question. Instead of trying to bring in new people to POKT, you're not trying to bring in bots. It's both. 90, I don't know what the stats are, but you can definitely expect most of all trading on exchanges happens through bots. These are folks that are just, they have their own algorithms, their own things, and I think that's a really important piece to attracting more liquidity. More people just buying and selling actively is really good for the token. You can see just with the volumes. I mean, it's just that's just a much more healthy environment for people to participate in, even in size, than previously, right? We've had investors in the past that are unable to purchase POKT on the markets because they're trying to buy in such a size that they'll impact the price too much. We've had some very patient investors buy over the course of like 6 to 12 months, which isn't feasible for most folks, right? We want people to be able to buy in size over a short period of time. And we still aren't even at that level of liquidity, in my opinion.
HT says, can you tell us more about the marketing push, please?
Yeah, so we've brought on our new person who's helping lead marketing on a consulting basis. I'm hoping in the next week or two I can have him give an intro to the community. But really, the way that we are viewing marketing is kind of through three funnels here. There's supply, there's demand, and there's community. And we really want to have very clear paths for folks on all three funnels. Generally, I think laying out the vision for Shannon is going to be really important. The repositioning of the protocol, the rebranding of Pocket is going to be really important. And ultimately, just getting a really consistent output of content, as well as leaning in on kind of the more traditional KOL stuff. I think, getting outside of kind of the Web3 bubble is important here. If you've been on crypto Twitter the last few days, you've seen people kind of be very surprised with Ripple and Cardano doing what they've done. I think Ripple flipping Solana recently, and that's because there's a big impact of Ripple outside of kind of our Web3 bubble, right? So this includes getting on exchanges where it's more accessible, these sorts of things. But ultimately, we want to kind of break past what the HBAR as well. A lot of the crypto Twitter folks are like, what the hell? What what's going on here? I think that's because like not everyone, most people aren't on crypto Twitter, right? And ultimately, they've done a ton of impact outside of the bubble that we're in. We're going to be doing a lot of work on that side of things. But at a high level, just to give you a concrete answer, HT, it's really about repositioning the network, yelling from the rooftops about what is possible with the new version of Pocket, getting people excited about that vision. Partnerships are going to be really important with this, different types of announcements with various different types of companies. And obviously, KOLs are a piece of that. Our marketing budget is going to likely continue to increase over these next 3 to 6 months as we start to get kind of the foundation and the main work streams moving. Is there a timeline for? Well, let me get the next question. Can anyone on the tech side explain the morphware.ai collaboration? I'm not super familiar with that. I don't know if Arthur or Fred have some context there.
Sorry, which collaborate?
Morphware.ai. It's news to me. New to me.
News
That's
to me
news
too.
to me.
Is
And,
this
I
something you
do
guys
see
saw on
that.
Twitter with someone just saying they use us?
No, it is here. I can drop the link in. They do have Pocket listed on their partners tab, and I assume it's because they're using Pocket RPCs.
I just wanted to add something else. The reason why I mention it is because, with the AI narrative, if Pocket really does have some sort of collaboration with Morphware.ai, and they're a legit project, and, obviously they're not listed on any exchanges, but there's a lot of buzz about them in community circles. And I did a perplexity.ai search asking, very simple, is it a scam? Apparently it seems genuine. So I was just wondering about that because they've got that Pocket logo emblazoned. I was thinking it's a great way to get in on the narrative if you've got this upcoming project where Pocket is powering the underlying infra. So yeah.
And that's very much the kind of thing that we want to make sure is out front and center. We often haven't been able to talk about people who use Pocket Network because we were kind of their dirty little secret, and they were often in negotiation with various providers trying to get the cheapest prices and all the rest of that. So business considerations sometimes stand in the way of marketing messaging, but Pocket has done a lot more than most people are aware of from an underlying perspective. It is nice to see this kind of thing on Morphware's website, and I'd love to see a powered by Pocket on every one of the people who projects who use Pocket as their underlying infra.
Yeah, agree. It's really about putting the protocol in a position where people are proud to have this, and benefits them when it comes to the traffic and the ability and the branding of the network as well. It's really important.
Then I
There's no
believe the
question
next
here.
question-
Oh,
Yep, go ahead.
I was just gonna, yeah. Is there a timeline for incentives on Sol Orca? Yeah, the goal is to focus on that next week, and start to push forward on that.
Other questions? I see more typing. Timeline for transition to mainnet approximately. I don't think that's changed at this point. But feel free to add on to
No,
that.
there's no change there. It's still targeting end of Q1, early Q2.
When will the AI narrative be introduced? We're starting to introduce it. I would expect a much harder push on the AI narrative once we do the full refresh on the brand, but particularly with the folks participating in the accelerator and anyone else that's partnering up with us, it's definitely expected to be front and center, particularly with content. And again, when I talked about like the vision of Pocket and communicating that, that's definitely going to be a core piece of it. Mito, what's happening with inflation? Is a 0% target still valid? Yeah, so we're basically following what we talked about doing within the original proposal that I put in terms of the transition to the foundation. We expect that the mint and burn to be, if not 1-to-1, very close to 1-to-1 on the launch of Shannon. That said, I would still expect there to be a higher set of emissions for the DAO treasury itself. But the important piece with a 1-to-1 mint to burn or something close to that is that it enables permissionless gateways on the demand side. So we're in a period of higher inflation now. My goal is to get the DAO treasury to 20% of the supply, and at that point, we'll be reducing things materially to, I would expect something what it was before the recent changes.
Beautiful. And I want to address Tim's question here. We have had a forum forever. There are years of conversations there, and Pocket Scan's product, Phoenix and AI, does a great job of surfacing questions from there. People just kind of really need to use the tools. We've pushed them constantly. They are pinned in the den and available there as well. So I very, very much recommend that. Phoenix AI searches all of the ecosystem, including the Telegram groups, the forum, and the transcripts of our weekly ecosystem calls. So you get a ton of information back there. And long form technical conversations are present all over the place in forum.pocket.network, which is a discourse forum. You can post on just about anything in there for a long form conversation. And we've chewed on more than a few technical conversations in there that had nothing at all to do with governance, just looking for a place to have a permanent record of shared long form ideas. So if you're not already a user on there, let me greatly encourage you to check that out, because that resource exists and has years of content in it.
Yeah, I'll just add on the SEO piece there, Tim Riggins, the new website will be very, very SEO optimized as well.
Other questions or follow-ups as needed? Braddock says, will Reddit and forums marketing happen again in the future? I assume you're talking about specifically about the content that we have on Reddit. There are a few people who are using the Pocket Network subreddit, and we've got a couple of related subreddits that we also manage or moderate for, including Deep Inside and a couple of others like that. As far as the contract to have paid Reddit promotions, all of the existing grants were paused during the transition of PNF. So it's likely that we need to go through another grant cycle, but there are a few folks that I would like to see back in the saddle, and that includes Reddit marketing as part of that.
KRW pair, is there? Oh,
Yep, go ahead.
were you about to say something? KRW pair, is there progress? It's an active conversation. Can't really say too much about it other than to say that we're working on it. Tim Riggins, is still consideration for use case specific sub tokens. I believe Steve, who I know doesn't speak for PNF, had floated the idea. Yeah, I mean, that's not something for sure in the near to medium term. I think the key thing is getting Shannon out and getting that stable, and there's probably higher priority things that we'll need to be working on when it comes to Shannon relative to something like that. We've definitely talked quite a bit about, things like gateway tokens and this sort of thing, which is really interesting, but that is not a priority today. HT, Mike, with the community marketing funnel, are you talking Discord / YouTube influencer circles? I was more referring to the funnel of when people actually get into the community, meaning like if you want to kind of lay out a funnel here, let's say the Den / Discord are the top level of the funnel, participating in the forums is the next level, and then actively contributing on a technical level, docs, these sorts of things is the bottom part of like the community funnel. So that's kind of how I view the funnel. At least once you hit the Pocket Network, there's obviously different channels that we can leverage and use to bring people into the funnel itself. Who's doing the SEO work for the revamped Pocket website? We're actively hiring for marketing, so we'll be doing a lot of content on that side. Jinx plus our contractor for the current website will be working on that. Jinx has a very long history in SEO and everything related to that. So
I have long complained about the lack of good strategy regarding our content structure and SEO structure on the existing Pocket websites. So I'm very excited that the new architecture keeps that front and center.
Timeline on the website, we're looking for a January launch for the website. Right now we're just working on the content for the website itself, and from there it's building up. I'm skipping around here just to keep it on topic. Who's the contractor for the site? It's one of our community members, actually, who's been around for a while. So really talented individual. I'm not sure if I'm comfortable outing him, but He's been around for a while, and he did the previous work on the website as well. I will let me confirm with him if he's okay with that.
Yeah, folks like that often do not want to have the community coming directly to them with all of their questions and thoughts about the website. That shit gets overwhelming.
Hopefully they suck it.
Yeah, what happened to Coder and why did he leave? I haven't seen if Coder has posted anything publicly yet on that. Jinx, do you know if he's made any communications?
I don't, and I mean, I've heard that there's a new AI product that they are working on collectively, but that's purely unsubstantiated rumor at this point. I'll let them speak for themselves.
Yeah, I'd rather let them speak for themselves when they're ready. But I can say that it's not for their carrying of Pocket. I spoke to Coder almost I think 2 or 3 weeks ago at this point. Purple Haze, any news on KOL partnerships / promotions? I mentioned, I think a couple weeks ago that we started working with one KOL. This is something we're doing strategically and expect to be increasing the budget for adding more folks. I think the hardest part about working with KOLs is working with the folks that actually make an impact. I can say that since the election, my own Telegram has probably 10x'd in spam from various folks. So it's really about getting really strong references and data from folks when we decide to work with them. But I can't say that we are our budget is there and will likely increase moving forward as well. Chico was never a paid influencer to my knowledge, so that was the good old earned media. Yeah, I think the KOL push, just to give a little bit more context about how I think about KOLs, I generally think they're a waste of money in a bear market. I think we want to leverage KOLs with big announcements and big product launches, releases, big growth. So generally in this market, it's, I think, positive EV to have KOLs now that we're in a more positive market. But I think we get more impact from folks like that when we've got some real meat behind the bone as well when it comes to folks talking about us and that sort of thing. Yeah, as we get our marketing hire and we work with the person that's currently on board, I would expect a lot more consistency and strategic efforts when it comes to marketing specifically.
Other questions? HT's typing. Great work, guys. Keep it up. A lot of good question and answer today. If there's any other topics that are unrelated to anything we've talked about before or so far that you'd like information on, please feel free to come off mute and ask or type it in the sidebar chat.
If you don't mind, I'll jump in on the F chains kind of update.
Yep.
Okay, first things first, on the F chains, we will be retiring the legacy chain IDs on Pocket on December 18th. So if it's not Celestia and it's not prefixed with an F, it's gonna be gone and won't be generating rewards. We've sent direct messages to all gateways involved, but we will be deprecating on the 18th. So just be on the lookout for that. Other than that, I will just pull this up and you can ask questions or comments in here. Let me share the link to you really quick before I do that. Here is just a quick update. We launched the F chains around the 18th-ish, but this is the success rates per chain over the last 20 days or so up through December 1st. F chains are very difficult to run, but you can see that we are not where we want to be yet, is the TLDR. So we're actively working with node runners across the community. I have it marked green at 99%, so we'll work on getting everything up to 99, but really we want to reach that 4 or 5 nines and beyond success rate. But this is publicly available now, and we're working with the node runners to get these numbers up.
Hey Fred, for the error count, what are you counting as an error here?
Yeah, so success rate is defined as any error that happens outside of the portal. So this would be, it is exterior to the portal. It means it hit our load balancer. We're able to pre-process the request, and we send it out, and a node or node runner somewhere in their stack outside of the stack of Grove responds with an error. And that is what success rate is. And this does pre-filter out any 4xx errors. So this is not user error either. I want to be very clear. There are no user errors included in this. A 4xx error bounces before it would leave the gateway.
And so to keep this line of questioning, this is a Grove specific metric for now until other gateways transition to Path, and then would we expect them to see similar metrics?
Yeah, we would hope to have that kind of be a standardized metric in the Path toolkit.
And
yeah,
sorry, I'll just continue the conversation in case anyone else doesn't have questions. Do you have any recommendations for what we can do as a community to improve these metrics?
We have very little data because we don't store requests or responses. We have some metadata about the types of errors, and a lot of these are 5xx errors. So my thoughts are that a lot of these are probably timeout or load related. It is no small feat to run an F chain. They are full nodes. They have the entire ledger. For some of these chains, you're talking 20 plus terabytes worth of data, and you'll need the compute to be able to, chug through that very quickly at time for a user and return a valid response. So I think this is just a matter of tweaking, increasing hardware where needed, and making sure that the incentives are pretty propped up to make sure that folks are able to run and still be profitable on the F chains.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just, as like a point of rationalization, I think the way to look at this, if I was, one of the users of this, is like for Solana, if it's 50% success rate, means that you have to shoot 2 requests to get the response that you're looking for. I think of this as a tax if you're using our service. So if you were going to do, our price is $2 per million. If you needed to get 2 million transactions, you're actually going to pay $8 for that as opposed to the 4 that you would expect, because you have to do double the amount of requests essentially to get the answer you're looking for. But that's a way of looking at it. This would not pass any Web 2 company's muster though, and that's really the problem, is that if we want to expand outside of the Web 2 or Web3 ecosystem, we need to be at that 3 to 4 to 5 nines range of success rate.
Beautiful. Thanks, Shell. I see Tim Riggins typing again. Question unrelated to F chains. Feel free to ignore or address via chat. It feels like the priority list is as follows: Shannon, traffic, new investors. Is there a timeline on when a concerted effort is going to be made to pushing Pocket to new investors? And on that note, what marketing materials are being produced that are easily digestible for lay people? It's funny. I had a meeting this morning with, I was a guest at a meeting this morning between Gabby and Saeed, and they were specifically talking about working on the docs and creating easily digestible and accessible material based on, who the user is that's coming to the docs and what they're looking for. I think that is a high priority internally from the team in getting that kind of information put together. Although I'm happy to let Gabby and Saeed answer those questions themselves.
And just to clarify, right, like docs are incredibly important as a source of truth and also as guidance on how and what you can do as an actor in the ecosystem. And while docs are really important for marketing, I do want to call out that like there would be separate marketing materials as we onboard the marketing team in addition to docs, right? So I don't want to make it seem like docs is the only thing, but it's just critical all around as a foundational tool for the ecosystem.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, and I would just add in terms of timeline, we've got our marketing lead working on this, and we're looking to hire this other marketing person on the team. So, I mean, there's going to be a priority on content and different work streams as well. So, I'd say definitely in tandem with the new website coming out, at the very least.
Yeah, I imagine a lot of the page level content on the new site makes for good standalone marketing content. So that messaging is going to be going out really heavily. One of the things that I think a lot of us have heard in the ecosystem many, many times is, what does this do? I don't understand it. And or Pocket's too complex for normies. And I think that a lot of the focus right now internally on creating messaging is specifically focused on that, on making the vision accessible, and not just on what Pocket does, but more importantly, why it matters, because that's the question that really is going to bring in interest.
Exactly.
And Michael asks, so what can the community do to improve the success metrics? And Fred is typing, I'm betting a response to that.
I am. I mean, I would encourage anyone who is a node runner to really, really, really dig into the logs on your load balancers as well as your actual blockchain nodes. I mean, this is a partnership at this point. We are not actively developing any QoS metrics or anything on the existing portal. And we'll be doing a lot more of that when Path launches in Q1 of next year. So we will also, this is a two-pronged effort. We're going to do a lot more development on Path, and we'll be much more aggressive as well with the way that we handle quality on path than we are with the portal today.
Beautiful. We are getting near the top of the hour now, so if you have any final thoughts, questions, or anything that remains to be said, get it in now. HT said I'm going to grill you all next week. Beautiful. Well, on that note, we'll call it here for the week. Thanks for everyone for coming, as always. And this is the single best opportunity of the week, in the ecosystem to talk directly to leadership of both gateways and the foundation. So if you're listening to this on YouTube, make time. Wednesdays at noon Eastern every week, this channel. And on that note, I will see all of you next week.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks all.